The pandemic has undoubtedly affected many areas of the world, and the car segment is no different. So if you're out shopping for a brand new car, you might be stuck with only what's on the lot, or you're waiting months to order the car you want. So naturally, you might want to look at a used car. That's what we're going to be talking about today, and specifically, we're going to be reviewing my 2017 CLA 250. So if you want to see all this and more, stick around. Welcome to the channel, guys. I'm Rick, the Honest Mechanic, and I have had this car from new. It is now 2023, and I purchased this car in March of 2027. So I actually spec'd out this car the way you see it. We're going to go through every little detail, what I like about the car, what I don't like about the car, obviously what's good and bad, and I'm going to point out a few little key features that not everyone may know about when it comes to these Mercedes. So I'm going to start with, obviously, since we're outside the car, something I really do like is the styling. I think the styling in this car is fantastic. Even though that it's about 6 years old now, it still stands out on the road today. I have about 78,000 kilometers on it. I don't travel super far, but it is my daily driver. I use it year round. We are in a northern climate. We're going to talk a little bit about that and how that's affected my car and how I maintain it in order to keep it going. So going back to the styling, it is a coupe. So it does have a lower back section here. So the roof line is sloped. That is excellent. So what's in it for you when it comes to the sloped roof line? Well, the drag coefficient. So Mercedes claims that at least their CLA 180 has the lowest drag coefficient of its time back when it came out in 2014. So that was a drag coefficient of 0.22. I should also note that this is the first body style of the CLA 250 because it came out in 2014, and I believe the body style had a facelift in 2019. They're still making the CLA as of right now in Canada, which is awesome. One thing it does hurt you though. So this sloped roof line is awesome. However, it does minimize some things like trunk space. So if I open up the trunk here, oh, and by the way, it does have a kick feature for opening the trunk. Really good. I kind of like that. However, in the wintertime, not quite sure. Sometimes it doesn't work all the time, but it does work 98% of the time. So it does have a very spacious trunk. Now, as you can see, I'm filming it as it is because this is my daily driver, so I'm not really making anything special. I want it to be as honest of a report as it can be. But I'm going to go grab my cooler just to show you what I'm talking about when it comes to trunk space. Okay, so this is our cooler that we normally use if we're going on a long trip, camping or anything like that, or if we go to a friend's camp. So it would be nice to be able to carry this cooler in the back of the car because the car is very comfortable. However, as you can tell, it doesn't fit. Now that kind of a bummer because otherwise, the trunk space, if you take a quick look at the side, it is very deep and it is also very wide. When it comes to luggage, if you're going on a trip, I can guarantee you that you will have plenty of space for your luggage because most luggage cases or suitcases are a little bit on the thinner side, longer and then wider. I actually was able to pick up my parents from the airport with all their 4 pieces of luggage in the trunk, no problem. But when it comes to height and the opening of the trunk, a little bit limited, so I don't think it gets full points there. But let's talk something about the inside when it comes to the back. So again, if storage is an issue when it comes to the back, I just showed you there that might be a problem. But the second thing that this sloped roofline might give you as an inconvenience is the back seat. I'm about 5'10", 5'11", so I'm not a very tall person. However, getting into the back seat is a bit of a cramp. So if I set up straight, my head is on the ceiling. So it's a bit of a tight squeeze. Is it possible for shorter trips? 100%. It's still a nice place. Still ample legroom back here, which I do like. And I do love all the finishing touches that Mercedes has put when it comes to the door panels, all the trim. They've definitely gone the extra mile when it comes to the quality of the build there. But again, that sloped roof line, it's a little bit tight sometimes. So if you do have a bigger family and you're going to be using it as your main vehicle, just keep that in mind. However, this is a driver's car, so this is a beautiful place to be. I absolutely love the driving positioning. I love the steering wheel, of all the controls. Everything is at your fingertips. It's fantastic. Now, one thing that I do like about it as well is there's a few features when it comes to the transmission. We're going to get into the powertrain in a minute, but it is super easy to shift into and out of gear simply with this lever. So you don't have any bulky controls down here, which gives you plenty of room for your coffee cups and all that stuff. And there's actually 3 coffee cup holders or cup holders. This is my regular everyday coffee cup. Normally it sits here, but if you do have a passenger or 2, let's say for the back, it even sits back here, even though it looks kind of small. And of course, there are some coffee mug holders in the back, which we'll show you right now. So those are actually here. My kids actually don't mind it back here. They are growing, don't get me wrong, so it's getting a little bit tight, like I was saying. However, right down here, we got some nice cup holders, which fold away, and it is still pretty comfy. So another bonus there. So if we go into the infotainment system, it's a little bit much when you look at it at first, because everything you do can be done in 3 different ways. You can either access your screen here from your steering wheel. You can access it from your rotary dial. I forget what they call this here, which is actually really user friendly. And then you can also access it from all these buttons. Some people might think that's a lot, but I personally love the keypad for the phone here. So if you were dialing a number, or if you're just trying to answer your phone, there's a couple of buttons here and right on the radio, and of course there's some on your steering wheel, and you can also answer using your voice. But I love the keypad if you don't remember, let's say, that person's number, or if you're dialing a number you don't always use. That's really cool. Some people don't always like the styling of the dash, because I've been told that it's almost like Mercedes forgot about this the display, I guess. Some people have mentioned that it looks like an iPad that was just stuck on last minute. I will actually tell you otherwise. I think it's fantastic. It sticks out just above the dash. It's in the perfect eyesight, so you don't have to take your eyes off the road too far when you're looking at your navigation, for example. If I flick that over, there's a button just for that. So it is just perfect. Now, the other thing I do like is its high resolution. And even in the camera mode, like the rear camera mode, I absolutely love. I don't know if it's going to let me turn it in without starting it. Let's just start it. There we go. So that is our camera, and I do find that the resolution is awesome. The other feature it has is if you flick it over here, you can actually see 180 degrees on either side. So if you were backing out of a parking space, you could see right down the lane, so you don't run into anybody. So I like that. This car also has the self-parking feature. That is something that we're going to try and show you if the video gives us enough time. I'm trying to keep the video a little bit shorter, but it does have a self-parking feature, and that works excellent. It takes a little bit of practice to use it. You're going to want to probably follow the user manual that's inside the car, or you're going to follow it in your owner's manual as well. So another bonus for me here. A few features before we move on to the powertrain. Now that I've started the car and I turned it off, if I wanted to leave the car for a few minutes, go inside, get a coffee or something at a restaurant, do a little bit of shopping, I can hit this button down below here, rest, and it will actually turn on my air conditioning or my heat, whichever one I set it to, for temperature anyways, for at least 15-20 minutes, up to about half an hour, depending on the condition of the vehicle. So that is a really nice feature to have. The other nice feature to have is the push button here for the start. Now, if you pull on it, you can remove it. And you might wonder, well, why would you want to remove it? Well, that's because if you happen to have your key fob battery die, So this is your key fob. If your key fob battery dies, you can simply just put the key in there and use the key to start your car like a traditional car would. So again, I actually really like that feature because it gives you the security feeling of being able to start your car in an emergency. So let's pop the hood and talk about the powertrain. So Mercedes has decided to power the CLA 250 and a few other vehicles with a inline 2-liter turbo. It's a single turbo. It is a twin scroll turbo, which is, it spools up very quickly. There's still some noticeable turbo lag, but it's not as bad as other vehicles I've driven. In this configuration, it's putting out 208 horsepower and 258 foot-pounds of torque, and that's enough to sprint the car from 0 to 60 in about 6.2 seconds. So it is not a slouch. This thing moves along just fine. It does have paddle shift, and it does have a dual clutch transmission with 7 gears. Now, one thing I do not like about the dual clutch transmission is, like I mentioned, I got about 78,000 kilometers on it. Every 75,000 kilometers, being that it's dual clutch and it is race devised, the fluid and the filters have to be replaced by the factory or by your dealer, and that's around $700 or $800 service. So it is not exactly the cheapest service to do, but let me tell you, that transmission shifts like butter. It is quick, it's fast. I guess those two words are the same, but I truly enjoy it. And one thing that I do like is it does have eco mode. It does have also sport mode, individual mode, and of course your comfort mode. But when you're in eco mode and you're just cruising along, if your engine is up to temperature, your transmission is up to temperature, when you let off the pedal, you'll see your emblem, your drive emblem go green, and at that point your transmission opens up and it just glides. It go into a glide mode, and it serves as like a very efficient way of coming down a hill or just not using very much gas, because you'll actually see your RPM gauge drop to an idle. So that is a really nice feature. I actually use that all the time on the way home on the longer hills or on the way to work. So that is something. And with the added roof line, I know that kind of gives you a little bit of a tighter squeeze at the back. The fuel economy in this on a highway runs around, for me here in my neighborhood and part of the world, the best I ever got was 6.2 liters per 100 on a long trip, and the worst I ever got was around 9, and that was in town in the dead of winter, super cold out. Talking about cold, I do have a other video that I will link to the bottom of this video here, talking about how this thing starts no problem in the cold. It does not have a block heater because it doesn't need it. I can promise you that. Just go check out that video. It starts relatively easy. So what is my conclusion of the car? Well, I absolutely love my car. Would I buy it again? I would. And I would recommend anybody buying these cars. I think it rides really well. I do have the sports suspension package, a little bit of a firmer ride. And you're going to probably ask me now, well, did it come without any issues? That's not true. The car did come with a number of issues that were all rectified from the dealer, all under warranty, and I'm very happy that happened. So what were some of those things? Well, I had a little bit of condensation in this light build up, and it built up enough that it actually stopped working. I'm going to show you some pictures down below where it actually stayed on one entire night until I was able to bring it to the dealer. So that dragged the battery down, which they replaced under warranty as well. So that was kind of cool that they were able to do that. Something else that I had to get done under warranty was the seat cushion on the driver's side. The bolster here cracked, just again because we live in the northern climate. I'm going to say that that's probably the reason why. One of the winters that we had a couple of years back was an average of like -25 all winter. Everything was frozen. It wasn't a very nice winter to be in. So that was that. And you know what? I think that's about the only thing that really has given me any type of issues when it comes to the car. I did change the front rotors only myself once, and that was because just spirited driving. Let's just put it that way. That is about the only thing that I've ever had an issue with. Knock on wood, knock on. But again, I hope if you were out looking for one of these vehicles, that this video has given you a little bit of an insight as to what is good, what's not good. But I can tell you I've been the only owner of this car since I got it. Like I said, I ordered it the way it is. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If it worked out for you or if it helped you in any way, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And I'll see you all in the next video.